Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. But by attending this session, you will come to know about how we can use cloud services to create infrastructures, like how to create instance, how to connect to remote instance, how we can make a web server, how to create your own virtual private cloud, how we can manage the traffic using load balancers. All these things we will see. The motive of this session is to make you all aware about cloud services, because I have appeared for ongoing campus placements, and we have seen that almost all good companies are looking for cloud developers, SREs, and DevOps engineers. So if you are planning to switch from development domain, then you must start with cloud computing, its tools and technologies. You can learn it and make your career in this. Also, you required some knowledge about networking, like how classless and classful IP addressing is working, what is port, different kinds of ports like SSH, RDP, HTTP, and some basic Linux and Git commands. All these things you will require to become a good SRE or cloud developer. Now let's see what we are going to do. I have planned to give a quick introduction about AWS, how you can create an AWS account, what is the benefits of using cloud platforms, how you can use EC2 service to create a remote instance, and what is the significance of it, why we need to create a remote instance, and what are the benefits we are getting. Then we will see what is security groups, what is key pair, what is puttigen, and git bash. All are the fundamentals you will aware once the session is over. And last example, we will also see what is web server and how to make an instance as a web server and running publicly. So let's start. First is, what is Amazon? Amazon is the world's, as you all know, it is world's largest online retailer and prominent cloud service provider. It is an American multi-billion-dollar company with headquarters are in Seattle, Washington, US. It was originally started by Jeff Bezos in 1995 as an online bookstore, but later they become one of the leading retailers and cloud providers in online market. Originally, AWS has been launched in 2006 by Amazon with EC2 and S3 services. EC2, as I said earlier, it is used for creating remote instance, and S3 stands for simple storage service. So something like Google Drive, where you can save your data and you can access anywhere, anytime. So now let's see some more information about AWS. Here, first point is the definition. Amazon Web Services is a collection of remote computing service, meaning that collection of remote computing service means if you want to create a remote machine which contains maybe a Windows or Linux OS inside it. Suppose you want to store GBs and TBs of data, then there is a service for that. If you want to set up your own web server, then there is a separate service for that. To do all this kind of task, AWS is providing a set of services. AWS has over 200 plus fully featured services, and all this service together make a cloud platform. Now we will see where the AWS has their data center available. We will search for AWS Global Infrastructure Map. Chrome tab is visible now. Yes. Can you see the world map here? Okay. AWS has 81 availability zones and 25 geographical regions across the world, and they are planning to add 21 more zones and 7 more regions in Australia, India, Indonesia, and many other countries. So here you can see the green, this orange circle is for upcoming data centers, and this blue circle is the existing data centers. And if you can see, in India there is one data center available in Mumbai, which is partitioned in 3 availability zone. Now You might think that why we need multiple zones inside one region. The reason is that because if we consider that some failure scenarios occur, then one zone will get down, but the other two zones will start already running. So you will never face downtime. That's why AWS has internally partitioned these availability zones. And all our availability zones are interconnected via AWS private network, and we are within the range of 5 to 10 kilometers from each other. Now let's look at what are the cloud platforms and its advantages. You will get major benefits if you are move your on-premise infrastructure to cloud. The first advantage you will get is availability. AWS promises 11 nines of availability. We will understand this term with an example. Let's take an example of Google Drive. Suppose you require 8 GB of storage, and for that you bought the pen drive from the market and you store all of the data inside your pen drive. But you forgot to carry that pen drive to your office, and now you won't be able to access your data. But if you have stored your data inside AWS cloud, you will able to access all of your data 24/7. The biggest clients of AWS are Netflix, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We will never see downtime in Facebook, LinkedIn, or Netflix because they are using AWS as in backend to provide 24/7 server is running, meaning that you get your data whenever you need. I hope you can understand this pen drive example. But in the real time, what happens is the size of data are in GBs and TBs. So you cannot buy hardware every time for that. So that's why you should use AWS. Uh, Second benefit is scalability. Uh, this is one of the best advantage. Let's continue that pen drive example. Suppose you require 10 GB of storage, and for that you bought a 16 GB of pen drive. But after a few weeks or days, you suddenly your data is increased up to 50 GB. Now what will you do? You won't be able to store that 50 GB data inside 16 GB pen drive. So here it comes the feature of scalability. You can dynamically add scale up or scale down your infrastructure based on your need. And the major benefit you will get is you don't need to invest your money to buying some space, and this feature will help you to eliminate the early guessing of your infrastructure. Like if you want to set up a server, then you should first buy, but this is not the case. AWS will provide storage to you, and whenever you need, you can just set a you are just 2 or 3 clicks away to get the desired capacity, and you can up and down at any time anywhere. The third advantage is pay as you go pricing. As I have said earlier, suppose initially if a client demands an instance with 8 GB RAM to process and 500 GB of hard disk, and later they have changed their mind. Now they want to double up the configuration. So now you won't go in the market and buy another server or another laptop. So this is the advantages you will get. You can get availability, scalability, and pay as you go pricing. AWS will charge only what you are using. Suppose if in a week, in 3 days, you are using 8 GB of RAM, and suddenly you require more load and more space, then you have changed the configuration to 16 GB. So your bill will prepared according to the usage of your data and RAM or any infrastructure. I hope you can get my point. Now we will see what AWS are offering. What are the different kinds of services? First, we will log into AWS to see practically what are the different services. This is the site aws.amazon.com, and here you have to provide your ID passwords. It will ask for CAPTCHA for verification and your account. password. Now we have successfully logged in. As you can see, this is the AWS Management Console. This is the first page of AWS. Here you can find the list of all services. As I have mentioned in the PPT, AWS provides compute service, storage service, database related service, management and governance, networking and content delivery, security, containerization, migration, machine learning, and developer tools. We will see here one by one. First is compute. In compute, you have EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, serverless application repository. All are the services you can use to create infrastructure. Like if you want to, if clients demands that you have to configure a server or a PC with this requirement, this much RAM and this much amount of hard disk you require. So compute service is used for that. In containers, you have Elastic Container Registry and Elastic Kubernetes Service. Kubernetes is a DevOps tools. Some of you might aware that DevOps is the recent technologies are using in CI/CD pipelines in real-time industry. If we are talking about storage, then we have S3. We are seeing the most important service from all, because you cannot learn 200 service in a one session. So I will aware about the important service to all of you. In database, we have RDS, Relational Database Service, and DynamoDB. In networking and content delivery, we have VPC. As I have mentioned earlier, VPC is used to create your own virtual private cloud, where you can create multiple subnets. So you can make subnet public or private to enable or disable the access. You can use Route 53 service. Route 53 is used to link your website or load balancer to your domain name. Suppose you have prepared one project and you want to host your website, then you can use this Route 53 service. You have to buy domain name, and once you will get domain name, you can link your website with domain name, and you will get your website hosted. This is the use of Route 53. Now developer tools. In this, we have code commit, code artifact, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. In developer tools, it is used in IT industries to perform CI/CD pipeline. As you all are learning software engineering subject in SEM 5, you might be aware that application or software is passing through 4 to 5 stages, like gathering requirements, design, then code, then testing, then deploy, and after deploying, you have to maintain that application. These all stages can be performed using these developer tools services. Here, code artifact means once your code is perfectly working, then you combine all your code and make it .exe file. Or if you are developing mobile app, then you will build the APK or bundle. And once you have built, you can give it to the testing purpose. So they will, once the testing is done, they will upload to production server and they will deploy and manage. Next important services are management and governance. In management and governance, you can create your auto scaling groups, and you can add your Windows machines or Linux machines, so that you can provide no downtime to our clients. This is useful when, suppose, let's take an example. In Flipkart, we have big billion days sales. So suddenly customers are increased from 10 to 1,000. So in that moment, your PC or your web server should be in a position to serve the request to all the users. This is the real example where you can use AWS auto scaling. Based on traffic, a new machine or new web server will be created automatically, and developer will get notification using CloudWatch. Developer can handle the number of web servers. Like if CPU utilization is greater than 80%, then you should create a new instance or web server so that all users' requests will be served properly. Then we have next is application and integration. Here it is, application and integration. Wait a minute. What happened? Wait a minute, I'll log in again. Yes, we have here application and integration services. In this you will find simple notification service and simple queuing service. As I have to tell you how developers can know whether a new web server is created or not. We have to set up an alarm. Then if CPU utilization is greater than some percentage like 80% or 90%, then new instance will be created and user will get notification via this simple notification service and simple queuing service. You can also create alarm. And now security, identity and compliance. In this, IAM is an important service. IAM stands for identity and access management. If you want to give limited access to a particular service to a group of employees, then also we can do that with the help of this IAM, which stands for Identity and Access Management. Example is if you want one group of people should only access EC2 service, then you can do it. And if new employees joins the organization, and if you want to provide access to storage service to that person, so you can do it using IAM user. These are all the service introduction. Now let's see the chart. This is the Gartner Magic Quadrant chart. What it tells? It tells that AWS is the top leaders right now with Microsoft and Google. They have measured the completeness of vision and ability to execute. You can see it in y-axis we have ability to execute, and in x-axis we have completeness of vision. So there are some other cloud providers also like IBM, Oracle, Alibaba Cloud, but these three are the top trending one, and in that AWS is the most preferred because it offers variety of services. As we have seen, we have close to 200 services. Now we will start with the first service called EC2 service. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud service provides scalable computing capacity, meaning that you can create instance with different available operating system with various configurations of processors and hard disk. Using Amazon EC2, it eliminates your need to invest in hardware upfront, so you can develop and deploy application faster. We will see it practically how we can create an EC2 instance. An AWS EC2 instance is also called as computer, machine, box, PC or server. Let's take an example. Suppose this paint window is visible. Okay. For example, if you want to learn Linux commands, so what will you do? You will not format your laptop and install Linux OS just to learn the Linux commands. This is worst practice. Another approach is can you install VirtualBox, and inside VirtualBox you can create an instance. But as you can see here, if you are using VirtualBox approach, then we have hardware layer, and on top of hardware, operating system we have installed like Windows. In Windows we have to install VirtualBox, and inside VirtualBox you are creating multiple instances. So what about your RAM, hard disk and CPU space? Here the answer. Here you are using your device RAM, hard disk and CPU to run virtual instances. but sometimes you don't have enough configuration. Like if you have only 2 GB of RAM with your laptop, then how you can create VirtualBox and run multiple instances? So AWS has come to the picture. Using EC2 service, you can create as many as instance you want, and AWS will provide us RAM, CPU, and hard disk from their data centers. And also this service is free of cost, so you will not get any kind of bill. As we will see how we can create a free tier account and use limited access. In AWS, you will get 300 hours of one virtual instance uh, for free purpose, and in storage service you will get up to approximately 15 GB or something like that for free, of course. If you are exceeding the hours and storage, then you will get bill. Now let's come back to PPT. Now we will create our first Windows instance. First of all, before that, we will see how we can create a free AWS account. In this PDF, I have mentioned the steps. The first step is to go to this URL aws.amazon.com. Here you will get a page in which you have to enter email address, passwords, and your account name. And in second step, you have to enter account type, because we are doing this for learning purpose. So select personal, give your full name, phone number, and region. One thing you should know here, your country code should match with your country. If you are selecting India, then write the mobile number start with +91. Similar this apply to other countries. If you are not using same country code with same country, then you won't be able to create account. You have to provide address. It is not compulsory, but if you want, and then you have to enter your credit or debit card details. Why we need this? Because AWS will deduct 2 rupees for checking that your credit card is working perfectly or not. And why 2 rupees will deduct? Because if you are using free tier account and mistakenly you are exceed the limits of the free tier account eligibility, then you will get bill. You will get notification in the billing section, right? You have exceeded the limit, like you have used more hours of an EC2 instance. If you want to pay, you can, but if you won't pay, then your account will be terminated by AWS. Here you have to give the credit and debit card numbers, card holder name, CVV, and do not need to give PAN card details. It is not compulsory. You will get 2 OTPs, one from your bank side and one from your AWS account. Enter both the OTP, and in second time, you also have to enter a mobile number, and you will get OTP from AWS. Enter it, and once the verification is done, AWS will ask which type of account you want to create. Here you can select free tier account. If you want to choose with developer plan or business plan, but it is costly, and so we will go with basic plan. Select free plan, and add the my role and interest and submit, and you are good to go. In 24 hours you will get your account running. Wait for 24 hours. Now you can log in, and you can use all your service. So now we will create the first instance. So go to services, inside services, go to compute and EC2. This is the EC2 dashboard. Here in the left side panel, you can see instances, instance type, what is AMI, volume, snapshot, all we will see. Security group, what is key pair, how to create load balancer, what is auto scaling group. All these things you can do with EC2 service, but we will focus on creating Windows instance. So click on instances from the left side. Here you will get dashboard which is region specific. Why it is region specific? Because here you can see the list of regions, available regions. As I have told earlier, we have seen in the map also. Here it is. We have 25 available regions. So you can see the list of 25 regions here. You can choose any region, but we are in India, we will select Asia Pacific Mumbai region. So our EC2 instance will create inside a Mumbai data center. From Mumbai data center, we will get RAM, CPU, and hard disk space. To start with, click on launch instance. Creating instance is a 7-step process. We will see all step one by one. Step 1 is choose an Amazon machine image, AMI. What is AMI? An AMI is a template that contains the software configuration like operating system, what type of server, if you want to make a instance as a web server, what type of application you want to install. These all configurations are given by AWS. AMI is something like if you have ever used VirtualBox and inside created a virtual instance, then you have to download the VDI file, virtual disk image file. It is similar like that. Here you can see the list of available AMIs. We have Amazon Linux, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Server, Microsoft Server if you are planning to create Windows instance. But first, you have to check whether it is free tier eligible or not. So we are planning for creating Windows instance and it is free tier available. We will go with this AMI. Select the AMI. It is 64-bit. In step 2, it will ask to choose the instance type. What is instance type? As I have mentioned here, RAM and CPU will be selected by us in the step 2. So in this step 2, you have to select which type of instance you want to create. Suppose if you want to create RAM with 4 GB RAM and 4 CPU, then also multiple combinations are available, but we will get only T2 micro instance as a free tier eligible. So we are going with this. You can select any of the instance type, but you will get bill if you are not selecting a free tier eligible. So go with this. In step 3, it is all about how many instances you want to create. You can create 10 instances in a single shot, but we want just one instance. So here write one, and this is the default VPC. AWS will give us default VPC, and these are the multiple subnets are available. As I have said, here you can see 81 multiple zones are available. So these are the availability zones. 3, we have AP South 1A, 1B, and 1C. 3 subnets are available inside Mumbai region. You can choose any one, or AWS will select. It is your choice. Next, this step is about adding hard disk. Here we have added RAM and CPU, and in step 4, we will add hard disk. As we are planning for free tier EC2 instance, we will only get 30 GB of hard disk space. You can add multiple volumes if you wish, but you will get bill because adding a new hard disk is billable or chargeable. So we will proceed with this. In step 5, you can add tags. What is tags? Tags is like giving a name to an instance. What are the use cases of tags? Tags are useful when you want to check your bill. Suppose you have 10 EC2 instance running and you want to know we from which EC2 instance we will get maximum bill. Then you can search by tag or filter by tag name. So you will get the amount that this EC2 instance are costing us that much of amount. So it is not compulsory. So we will not give it. Also, it is tag is also billable because AWS is using if you give tag name, then in AWS data center it will store the tag name, and whenever you pay the bill, it will fetch the information. That's why. This is 6th step. in which we have to configure the security group. This is the most important thing. Let's see security group theory first. A security group acts as a virtual firewall. As you all know that virtual firewall will restrict or allow access to incoming traffic to your PC. Similar to that, security group is working as a virtual firewall for your EC2 instance to control incoming and outgoing traffic. We have two kinds of rules, inbound rules and outbound rules. Inbound rules control the incoming traffic towards your instance, and outbound rules control the outgoing traffic from your instance. Whenever you are launch an instance, you can specify one or more security groups. If you don't specify, then Amazon will give us default security group name, and you can modify the rules anywhere, at any point of time. Let's see. We are giving security group like Windows SG. As we have created Windows instance, Windows SG, security group name is, and here you can see RDP port is open. What is RDP now? RDP is remote desktop protocol, which is used to connect to your EC2 instance, because creating instance is not just good thing. You have to have connect to it, and you will do your task. For that's reason we require RDP port. And what is port? If you don't know, port is a point of communication. Let's take an example. If you want to enter inside your room, then first should you have to open your door, then you will get into the room. Similar to that way, port must be open to connect to any instance. If you are selecting Windows instance, then RDP port should be open, and if you are using Linux instance, then SSH port should be open. Here you can provide from which IP address you want to connect. So here we will select anywhere. If you are selecting anywhere, then anyone can connect to your instance. But there is one more security layer, which is key pair. We will see it when it comes. Now, as you have seen all the steps, I will repeat. First, you have to select the AMI, and after that, you have to select the instance type, which is a configuration of RAM and CPU. Then you have to create how many number of instances you want to create, inside which availability zone you want to create. In fourth step, you have to wait a minute. I have selected wrong. This we have planning for Windows. So go for Windows. And here you can get the storage space 30 GB. Leave the tag, give the security group. And just click on review and launch. In last step, you will find you are creating Windows instance with type T2 micro, which has 1 GB of RAM and 1 CPU, and with 30 GB of storage, and RDP port is opened. So now click on launch. Once you click on launch, you will get this tab, which will ask for creating a key pair. So choose create a new key pair and give any suitable name. So we are giving Windows KP, and you have to download this key pair. And now click on launch instances. Why it is failing? We will go again. Select T2 micro and storage. Create a new key pair. Windows KP. As you can see, we have successfully created a Windows instance. Click on View Instance. Here you should provide name like Windows instance, only Windows, it is fine. You will get here instance state. It is currently pending, but it will change. You have to wait for 1 or 2 minutes. It will be running. It will be in running state. So wait for 1 minute. Let's refresh to see whether it is running or not. Meanwhile, let's discuss what is PEM file. We have downloaded the PEM file, and what is key pair. A key pair is a combination of public key and private key that is used to encrypt and decrypt the data. To be able to log into EC2 instance, you must need a key pair and specify the name of key pairs. Then you have to download that PEM file. What is PEM file? PEM extension's full form is Privacy Enhanced Mail, which is most common format for certification and cryptographic keys. The content present inside a PEM file is encoded in the base 64 ASCII format, so that it is a kind of encrypted format in containing public and private key. You will learn cryptography subject in which you will better understand what is public and private key, and this is very good for security reasons. Now let's see it is running or not. Now it is showing the running status, green status. So let's connect to that instance. Before that, here you will get some basic details like what is public IP, what is private IP of that of this is EC2 instance, what is the DNS name, what are the security groups. We have opened the RDP port number is 3389, all these things. So now select the instance, click on connect. A new window will open. Here you should select RDP client. Why RDP client? Because RDP point is used to connect to EC2 instance. For connecting EC2 instance, you require three things: DNS name, username, and password. So now here you can see you will get DNS name and username from the AWS itself. So let's copy it first. This is username, and you have to wait for 3 to 4 minutes to get the password. Let's click on get password. Now it is eligible. You have to select the key pair file. Earlier we have downloaded with name Windows KP. So browse it, go to downloads, Windows KP.pem file, select it. Here you can see the content. As I have said, it is a base ASCII 64 base encoded. These are the keys, public and private keys, which will use by RDP port to connect to remote instance. So click on decrypt password and you will get your password. Now we have all things with us. Also we need remote desktop application, which is already installed on your Windows machine. So click on it and open. A new window will open. It will first you need to enter the DNS name. Here I have pasted and click on connect. If it is successful, then it will ask for username and password. Add the username and add the password. It will ask, are you sure you want to connect? Click on yes. Now as you can see this black window, wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Instance is running. Now we have experienced that how to create your first Windows instance using EC2 service, and you are able to connect it. Now you can do any kind of task you want to perform. This is similar to our Windows instance, just the RAM and CPU and hard disk will be provided from AWS data center.
don't forget that you have only 300 hours of free access of this instance. You can click on the file to see. We will get 29.9 GB, which is approximately 30 GB. As we have mentioned in the step 4, we will get 30 GB of storage. So here you will get, and from that 14 GB is allocated to install your Windows. You can, if you want to add multiple volumes, then you will get here multiple C, D, E drives, but it will charge. So here you can see all the other information like host name, instance ID, public IP address, and private IP address. Now let's verify public and private IP address. It is starting with 172.31.3, and you will get 1 GB of RAM available. So in this way you can connect. If you have any question, then please ask. In this way we can connect to Windows instance. Now once your task is done, don't forget to terminate this instance, because it is a billable thing. So we will terminate. Here you can see stop, start, reboot, hibernate, and termination. Stop means to shut down your instance, and reboot means here you will get running state, but in some cases you will not get 2 out of 2 check pass here, because sometimes your hardware or operating system are not compatible. So that's why you will not be able to get the 2 out of 2 check pass. So if this such things happen, then reboot the instance. And if you don't want to permanently remove the instance, then terminate it. Are you sure you want to terminate? Yes, click on terminate. It will be terminated in few seconds. So where we are standing, we have created a Windows instance here. It is a 7-step process. I have practically implemented all these steps. First is select AMI, select instance type, number of instance, add hard disk, add a tag name, which is not compulsory, security group, and step 7 is to review the details. Now how to connect to, as we have used remote desktop application, and all this username, DNS name, and password. All these things are written in this PPT. Just I have do it practically. You have to browse the PEM file in order to get your decoded password. Choose decrypt password to get the password. Provide username, DNS name, and password in order to connect. So what is security group is also covered. What is keep here? Now we will connect to Linux instance. Whether you are connecting to Windows instance or Linux instance, steps remain same. So now click on launch instance. Here we can go with Amazon Linux. Click on select, as we are planning for free tier. So go with T2 micro. Take number of instances 1. Here you will get only 8 GB of storage. If you are creating a Windows instance, then you will get 30 GB of free storage. Similar, here you can also add new volume. The newly added volume is EBS volume, and the root volume contains the OS information. So we will not do it, so close it. Step 5 is for tags. Step 6 is security group. We will give Linux SG as our security group name. Here you can see SSH port is open. Why we need SSH port? Because Linux is communicating using SSH port. We will see there are 2 ways to connect to Linux instance. And here you can allow anywhere. You can specify a particular IP address or a custom IP address range, or you can sorry for the interruption. You can click on anywhere. So as we are making it public, so click on anywhere, review and launch. Now we will you can use a existing key pair also, but it is good practice to create a separate key for each instance, because if you lost the key and if you are using only one key to connect your 10 instance, then you won't be able to connect to any of them. So it is good to create a separate key for every instance. We have downloaded it, linux.pem file, launch instance. Successful it is. Now click on view instance. Give the name Linux. Wait for 1 or 2 minutes to get the status green. Now we can connect because it is showing the green status. It is running. You can connect to Linux instance using in two ways. But before that, we have to understand what is putty, putty-gen, and git bash, and why it is required. So let's see the theory first. Putty is a terminal. It is used to connect to remote machine to local from your local machine. And putty requires .ppk file. Now what is ppk file? ppk stands for putty private key. We need to convert that PEM file into ppk file, and for that we can use the terminal called putty-gen. So here are the two uses. Here are the usage of these two terminals. Putty-gen is used to convert that PEM file into ppk file, and using that ppk file you can connect to your Linux instance. And second way is to use git bash. We will see all these two way practically. So first go with putty and putty-gen way. So click on connect. Here go with SSH client. Here you will get your DNS name similar to Windows instance, and here you will get SSH command also. So first you will require this putty and putty-gen apk, not apk.exe files. You can download it. Just Google it, putty download and putty-gen download, you will get. So first open putty-gen. Here you have to select load and browse the PEM file we have downloaded for our Linux instance. This is the file linuxkp.pem file. Open it, click on OK. Now you have to click on save private key. Click on yes. It will ask for a file name. We will give same file name linuxkp, but here the extension is .ppk. So here you can see the extension is .ppk and name is linuxkp. We are saving it in our download folder. This is the work of putty-gen. Putty-gen stands for putty generator. Now close it. Open putty terminal. Here you have to give host name or DNS name. Select it. Just copy it from AWS console. Copy the DNS name. As you can see, our connection type is SSH. So go inside SSH under authentication, auth, browse that ppk file, click on open. It will ask, are you sure you want to connect? Accept the invitation. Here it will ask login as. What is login as? This is the username and this is the DNS name. So we have to copy this username because every virtual instance has their own username and hostname. So we will use EC2 user. As you can see, you are able to connect to it. We can verify it by going to the dashboard. Click on Linux instance. and check here the private IP 172.31.41.81, which is same in the AWS console. In this way, you can verify whether you are successfully connected or not. So this is the first way to connect. We will disconnect it and we will see second way. This second way is more simpler. Click on connect. Now open the open the location where you have saved your PEM file. Just right click and open git bash here. You need to install the git bash, and then you will get option like open git bash from this location. Now go to the console, copy the SSH command. As you can see, it is using linux kp.pem file. If you are using putty and putty way, then you need to first convert .pem file into ppk file, because it is operating on private key. So first we need to convert that public key into private key, and then using ppk file you can connect. But SSH using PEM file directly, which is given by AWS. So copy that SSH command and paste it here. Click enter and type yes. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes. In this way you can connect both the ways. Click on disconnect. Now you can able to create Windows and Linux instance, and you should in a position to get the idea how to connect to it. Now all of you might thinking that we are just connecting and disconnecting, but what is the benefit of creating instance? Now let's see a practical example how we can create a web server. How to make a instance web server? We will make this Linux server, Linux instance as a web server. So rename it web server. Click on connect. We will use a putty-gen approach, because you need to download download the web server package and all these things. So that's why open putty, copy the DNS name, paste, go inside authentication, browse the ppk file, open it, EC2 user hostname. You are ready to connect. Let's make some fonts, increase the size of font so you will see it better. Now it is better. First we will see theory how we can create how to make a web server. A web server is a program that uses HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, to serve the file in the response. Whenever a user requests for particular resource, suppose if you want to connect, if you want to search for any kind of thing, let's take an example. If you want to use net banking, then you will type ICICI or any SBI or any bank name, and in response server will reply with home page. So this is the purpose of a web server, to serve the request of the users. There are multiple servers like Apache HTTP server, IIS server, NGINX server, HTTP server by Apache. We will go with Apache server. So what is HTTPD? HTTPD stands for HTTP daemon. It is a background process which is running inside a web server. It waits for the incoming server request. Whenever a user request the server, this daemon process will serve the request and reply to the user with any kind of multimedia document or file document, whichever user is asking for. Now we will see how to connect to web server. Mm, these are the list of commands you need to perform in order to make the instance as a web server. So we will do it one by one. Mm, First command is sudo su. What is sudo su? Sudo stands for super user, which is used to switch from the which is used to switch to the root user or admin users. Why we need this? Because admin, if you are installing all the package as an admin, then you will be able to access. So how to verify you are admin or not? You will get dollar prompt here. The second command is yum update -y. What is yum and what is update and what is -y? Yum is a repository which is maintained by Linux administrators. In this repository, you will find all the packages. This command will update the repository first because this is needed because you want to install the latest package. As we are planning to install the HTTPD package, first we should update the repository and then download the HTTPD package from that repository. So first it will update the repository, and -y, it is an option you can provide. Once the installation is done, this prompt will ask whether you are sure you want to install or not. So click on whether you have to type yes, or you can provide earlier -y option. It is your choice. Now we will install HTTPD package from the yum repository. Oh, sorry, I yum install HTTPD. It will download the HTTPD package. Now you have to go to this location. Just copy it and paste it. Why we need? Because in the HTML directory you can create all your web pages. Because a web server will give the response as a web page. If you are accessing the ICICI Bank homepage, then there should be a homepage must be installed in the web servers. Then and only then user will get the response back. Here you can create index.html file and the content is my Google. This could be as simple as my Google or as complex as Facebook homepage. It is your choice. So we are just creating one index.html file, and inside it we have added the my Google content. You can use get command to verify whether the content is written or not. As you can see, the file is being created with the name of index.html. As in web technologies, you are all aware, index.html is the first page and error.html is the page you need to create. These two pages are required, but we will not create error.html as we are not facing any downtime. Now we have to start the service. What is service? You have just only installed the HTTP packet, but you have not started the service yet. So first you should start the service, and then only then web server will start working. And last command is check config HTTPD on. Why it is required? Here it is written. This command will help to start HTTPD service automatically whenever machine is restarted, because all these things are one-time configuration. You will not do it again and again. So this command will help us in that way. So now we are good to go. We have installed the HTTPD package, which is provided by yum repository, and it is originally from Apache server. So now we will just copy the public IP of this web server to see whether we are getting the my Google page or not. But as you can see, you are not getting anything. This this is only buffering. We have left one configuration which is important. We haven't opened another port. We should open HTTP port because browser communicates using HTTP port. We have opened only SSH port. Why? Because SSH it is used to connect to your instance, but now we have make our instance as a web server. To run the web server, you should open the HTTP port first. So select the web server, go to here networking, where you will get here security group. We have, if you remember, we have given the name as Linux SG. So go to select the instance first, go to security. Inside security you will find security groups. We have given name Linux SG. So open it. Here you have to add, you should open the HTTP port. So edit the inbound rules. As we have talked in the theory, inbound rule is controlling which type of traffic you are allowing to your instance. So click on add rule, select the HTTP. You are planning to make your web server public. Anyone in the world can access. So here you are selecting anywhere, and it is it is following IPv4 address. So you are selecting anywhere IPv4. Click on save rules, and now you should get web page. It is not getting. Select public IP. I have selected a private IP, that's why. Go with public IP. As you can see, you will get my Google page. As this is the thing I want to convey. In this way, you can make a web server. This could be a one-page website or multiple page website. For that, you have to create multiple pages inside this HTML directory. You can make your own website using this, and you can host it. This is the thing I want to convey in this session. I have ended with my part. Let's revise what we have done. First, we have seen what is AWS, why you should use. We will get three major benefits like availability, scalability, and pay as you go basis. Then we have seen how to create a free tier account, what is EC2 service, why we should go for it, how to create a Windows instance and Linux instance, what is the importance of security group. It has inbound and outbound rules to control the incoming and outgoing traffic. You can also block hacker IP address using security group. Let's see how you can block. Click on this, go to the security group. Sorry for the interruption. Go to the security group, click on edit inbound rule. You can add rule like HTTP. And if you want to block, then you can select my IP and you can provide any IP. This is the IP address of my PC. If you can search what is my IP, this is the IP address of my IPv6 IP address of my instance, and AWS will fetch your IP address. Similarly, networking team will you will get the IP address and you can block it. If you have any question, then please ask. I have completed the session. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Pratik.
Yes, ma'am, I have finished. If you students have any questions, please.
Yes, if any of the students have any query, then you can ask. Students, do you have any query? Then you can clear your doubts with Pratik.
I want to share something. This is my first session, so I am not sure that whether I am conveyed to you what I want to say. So please ask anything if you have.
Yes, if any of the student like doubt, then you can ask and also take the contact from the Pratik. So you can prepare well for AWS in future, right? Because next year you guys are going to appear in placements and other activities, right? So
કેમ કે ક્યારેક થાય છે શું એવું કે જ્યારે તમે પ્લેસમેન્ટમાં બેસો ત્યારે લગભગ બધા લોકોને ડેવલપમેન્ટ સાઇડ જવાનો ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ હોય, બધા પ્લાન કરતા હોય કે હું જાવામાં જઈશ કે હું પાયથનમાં જઈશ કે બેકએન્ડ ડેવલપર બનીશ કે તો આ પણ એક AWS પણ એક સારું એવું પ્લેટફોર્મ છે, તમે કરી શકો છો ટ્રાય if you are not
yes,
interested in
because many companies like AWS, the additional things you can add in your profile, right? Because many companies are asking something additional though that you know. So one of the things that you can add in your profile, that is AWS.
અને મેમ રિસન્ટલી પણ એવું ટ્રેન્ડ ચાલ્યો છે કે હવે DevOps એન્જિનિયરિંગ ની પણ બહુ ડિમાન્ડ છે કે
Yes.
તમે જ્યારે કોઈ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં એવું હોય છે કે એક સેપરેટ ટીમ હોય છે ડેવલપરની અને એક સેપરેટ ટીમ હોય છે ઓપરેશન્સ ટીમની. ઓપરેશન્સ ટીમને કે એટલું બધું ડેવલપમેન્ટ સાઇડ નોલેજ ના હોય, પણ તે લોકો AWS અને બીજા ઘણા પ્લેટફોર્મ છે, અઝ્યોર છે, ગૂગલ ક્લાઉડ છે, તો એ લોકો આ સાઈડ કામ કરતા હોય કે તમારી એપ્લિકેશન હાઉ ટુ રન ધીસ એપ્લિકેશન 24/7.
Yes, exactly. So you can also share with these guys the websites or any links from where you have started learning AWS, so they can start from scratch. And in future also, if you have any query, then you can mail it to Pratik. Fine.
Yes ma'am, sure.
Okay. So thank you all the students for attending the session, and hope you guys enjoyed the session. Thank you, Pratik, for delivering such a nice session. It was
Thank you
really
ma'am.
informative,
Yes
right?
ma'am, thank you ma'am.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.